current president, you were saying.
The current president, Stephen Dutton, I watched him grow up, and he and his brother Joe watched him grow up, and now he's the current Farm Bureau president of Sonoma County. And my nephew, who also is a farmer and worked for me as soon as he could drive a tractor and hoe a grapevine, John Beatty, is the treasurer. So I guess, you know, we all have a lot of passion for the area, and we support the Farm Bureau, and they play an important role. I mean, you know, everything that comes along here, they're in the know, and they help us out a tremendous amount.
You know, this is a lot of my experience up here is around the table, meaning some of the best times I've had with farmers in this area is, you know, getting invited to their house, and they put out some food, and you have a really fabulous meal because all the food is, you know, fresh and local and stuff. You guys, either one of you have a story about a really special meal that you've had in this area with your friends, with your, you know, some gathering that gives you a strong memory? What are you thinking, Mel?
Well, actually, I got two of them, but there's just some memories that I have. Being an older guy here now, growing up in the area, there are two actual memories that I have. Warren Dutton, who was one of my best friends, who passed here 15 years ago, Stephen and Joe's dad. When we first met, he actually met my father first. He was farming a piece of land, rented a piece of land next to my dad's ranch. Got stuck on a Sunday spraying his pears, got stuck with his big sprayer and tractor, walked down to the ranch and looking for somebody. He knew that I lived there, a young guy. I was a little younger than Warren. And he met my dad. And my dad, you know, naturally knew his father because everybody knows everybody in the community here. Went and got a tractor, went out and pulled Warren out of the mud, and Warren and my dad became instant friends there. And then after I met Warren, and it was great. And then I still remember a day coming home there to our ranch. You come to my mom's place, if you were around lunchtime, you know, you were always invited to go in to eat lunch. And Warren knew that, and he started, when I'm not around, because we farmed all over. I farmed all over, and I wasn't always at the ranch there. I leased land and owned land in other parts of the county. I come home one day for lunch to have lunch with my mom and dad, because my mom and dad had lunch every day. So I come into the house, and Warren's my mom's got this little kitchen. She's this absolute perfect Italian cook. And all my grandparents are from Italy, and so we have the benefit of eating Italian food every day. So I come in there, and Warren's in there with my mom, helping her get, you know, set the table and getting the dishes out. And he's setting the table, and we all had our spots as kids growing up, and we still use those spots going back to have lunch with my mom and dad. Well, you know, I asked Warren, I says, are you going to eat in my spot too? Because my mom and dad loved him just like one of the kids, you know. And my mom used to make them, we always had a lot of chickens and eggs, and Warren liked this egg flan custard. My mom used to make that for Warren. And I was always a little jealous my mom would do things like that, but it was pretty interesting that, you know, that was Sonoma County. That's the old Italian way, and you can't buy that. You know, that's passion. We had a client that we farmed for in Windsor that they had a beautiful home, beautiful ranch, and we farmed it for them. One day on a Saturday, they came to our ranch, and my mom and dad had the big Italian basement. They had all their little grandchildren down there on a big table. My mom was making this big lunch, Italian lunch. You know, we'd have from pasta to fresh, you know, salad out of the garden, and tomatoes and French bread and salami and cheese, and all these little kids, Mark and all his little cousins, are sitting around a table there, you know, and in the basement, and you know, they come in there and, oh, how beautiful this is and that, and I'm thinking, you know, you don't buy that. You can't buy that. That you earn. You get that from passion. You know, my dad would have never sold that ranch to anybody else. I wouldn't either. It's not for sale. I mean, it'd be a great place to develop, but you know, it's that's Sonoma County. That's some of the old-time farming families in Sonoma County. That's the passion. So hopefully we pass it on here a little bit.
Yeah, you made me hungry, and I just had lunch.
And that's exactly the way it was. Right?
But don't you agree? I mean, somehow that the farm meal as a life thing, you know, the way people eat together, the way that they get to know each other through eating together. I mean, it's very old country kind of feeling. And Italians, it is what the story is. The lunch is like it's the story. He was
He's
just
wit.
there for as long as it's going to take.
That's it.
But that idea of it in our rural communities is where that's sustained, and it's a really huge value because we forget that when we live in a place where stuff comes out of a store. And,
Right.
you know, it's all kind of everything's fast because you're hooked up to these infernal machines,
Yep.
et cetera,
Yep.
et cetera. Do you have any kind of memories that are about?
Well, I think just to kind of just segue on that with, you know, friendships, right? Friendships, family, and, you know, a lot of these families that are very much so engaged here in the county, and I mean, you cannot buy those friendships. You cannot get those things. You cannot obtain those at the grocery store like you're mentioning, and that's huge. That's valuable. And it might be, you know, you need help. I mean, you don't even need to ask. I mean, we have, you know, friends that would do anything for us. And likewise, we, you know, mutual thing. And, you know, now I'm in a different phase of my life here that, you know, raising, you know, with my wife, 2 young boys and trying to, you know, teach these values and understand these things and have respect. And it's a good place to raise a family. It's a great place to raise a family, and around hopefully trying to paint all these pictures and values of hard work, and you know that we talked about that earlier. That's important. You can't, if the hard work and desire, if you don't have those, then you know ag, no matter what you're doing, is not your cup of tea. So
Yeah, that's understood. Well, I appreciate you guys coming in. I think we got enough
Okay.
for this process, and